Okay, so I decided to do my project on alpine trees and how they change at different elevations. I took all of this footage at Silver Star Mountain, which is in the Engelmann spruce subalpine fir biogeoclimatic zone, and those are the two trees that I'm going to be focusing on. Okay, so starting at the bottom of the hill at around 1,000 meters in elevation, we can see that the tree composition still has lots of angiosperms in it, and all of the trees are quite tall and a lot more billowy in shape than what they're going to appear like at the highest elevations. We can also see some subalpine larch here in this photo. Okay, so at this elevation we would be in the Engelmann spruce subalpine fir biogeoclimatic zone, and we would be transferring from the DC2 to the DC1 subzones. This is the distribution for this subzone. The DC1 subzone is characterized by having a cool, moist, year-round climate, and the soil in this zone is mostly granite with fine-grained sedimentary rock such as mudstone and siltstone. Some of the animals that live in this area are grizzly bears, wolverines, lynx, and mountain goats, not necessarily on the resort, but in the zone. This subzone occurs generally around 1,600 meters to 1,850 meters in elevation. This next area on our tour is a different chair that has a higher elevation, with the top of this chair being around 1,915 meters in elevation, and up at the very top there's really only subalpine fir up there because it's the only thing that can survive at this elevation. The shape of the trees as we got higher in elevation were much more conical and spiral-like these two examples that I'm showing now. They're also at the very top of the mountain are a lot shorter than the rest of the mountain because of the high elevation. The smaller shape and size of these trees at the top are meant to help with the snowpack and shedding it. Another interesting thing that can happen with fir species is that they're known to layer, which is when snowfall pushes their lower branches down to the ground so that those branches will take root in the soil. The two photos that I have here are a good comparison between the height of the trees. The first one was at the very summit, and then this is around the middle of the mountain. The next biogeoclimatic zone that I will be talking about is the Engelmann spruce subalpine fir dry cold woodland zone, which occurs at roughly 1,900 meters to around 2,000 meters in elevation, but it is variable, those heights. These are the regions that this subzone occurs in. This zone is characterized by its short growing season and its large snowpack that it keeps for about half of the year. Historically, these two subzones, the DCW and the DC1, fire played a big role in disturbance in order to replace old stands. Okay, so the first tree that I'm going to be talking about is Engelmann spruce, Picea engelmanni, which can grow to be about 150 to 160 feet tall. It is shade tolerant and it is prone to wind throw because of its shallow roots. This tree tends to grow alongside subalpine fir, and like all spruces, they are prone to wind throw. This species is a lot more conical in order to deal with the snowfall than other spruces. These trees can keep growing in diameter until they're about 300 years old, and both Engelmann spruce and subalpine fir are affected by bark beetle. The local indigenous tribes used the bark to make canoes, their roots for baskets, and boiled the tips of branches and used it as a wash to purify. The leaves on this tree have prominent stomatal bands, and the bark is scaly with gray on top and red underneath. The next tree I will be talking about is subalpine fir, also known as Abies lasiocarpa. It is native to BC and has a very large distribution area, all the way from the Yukon to almost Mexico, where it mostly grows at high elevations. Many indigenous peoples from around this area, including the Okanagan, would call this tree the medicine tree. They would also ingest the pitch to cure tuberculosis and make tea from it, which could be used to cure coughs. It was also used for bedding and as a wash. The bark on this species generally stays smooth and retains its resin blisters, even at a mature age. This fir has pretty distinct leaves as they curve upwards away from the branch. They also have 2 stomatal bands. These trees are classified as very shade tolerant, and with the economic aspect of this, they are less desirable than spruce because of their low density wood and the fact that they grow at higher elevations. These trees do technically bring in a lot of money for the Vernon area because they're both harvested commercially and they are the main dominant trees at the Silver Star Mountain Resort, and many people probably wouldn't enjoy skiing up here as much if there weren't so many trees, and the mountain has actually incorporated them into the runs and just made it a lot more fun with all of these trees. Here are all of my sources cited. I would pause it to read them thoroughly. And thank you for listening.